Hey, Billy here. So in this video, we're going to be covering what I've called body and like voluntary physical adversity, but basically it's just how to get jacked and diced and all that good stuff, and just basically progress in the gym. So probably most of this video is going to be just like how to get started, and then like common pitfalls to kind of avoid. So I've been working out since about 15 years old. I'm now like 27. I played at ice hockey at a high level for most of my career, and then obviously after that went into like bodybuilding, playing a bunch of different sports, weightlifting, CrossFit, all that good stuff. So I've tried a bunch of shit. I kind of know what works. Um, and with that said, I just let's go down to the bottom because I just want you to know that I'm not just like spouting off and got no physique. Again, it's not amazing. My personal philosophy is just to be a 7 out of 10 everything. So yeah, I think this is impressive given that my business acumen, the money I make there, the relationship with the family, a bunch of other shit that they take into account. So anyway, that's what I look like right now. Well, let's have a little watch of the video, which is just me doing a clean and jerk with 100 kg, which is again not super impressive, but I only weigh about 75 kilos right now. So um, that's I think it's pretty cool. If it plays, if it doesn't play, we shall get rid of this segment of the joke. It's pretty good. Okay, there we go. Cool. So that's that shit out of the way. Hopefully you realize I know something that I'm talking about. I'm not just a skinny guy with uh, who's never been to the gym before. So cool. That's out of the way. So the most important question, I guess, if you're watching this video, you probably are looking for tips and maybe aren't working out. So very quickly, why it's important to work out, and this I'll boil this down to one particular thing. So I have a friend who always has some pretty pithy quotes for me, and I was telling him how girls were looking at me differently since I'd got in shape because there was a time, especially after lockdown, when I had a big gut and I wasn't in shape at all. And his rebuttal to that was that like they're only looking at you differently because you're looking at yourself differently. So the point is not I don't want this to come across as me saying do this to get girls. The point is do this to look at yourself in a better way and just have confidence. And I have a lot of confidence just going about my day in whether it's business, whether it's talking to girls, whether it's whatever it is that I'm doing in my day. I have a lot of confidence that I've like taken care of things. It's similar to having your bed made at home, like having all your washer put away. Like that gives you like a subconscious like confidence during the day. So it's the same thing with being in shape for me. I know that's taken care of. I'm in good shape, better shape than 90% of people. And so whenever I go into my interactions, that does rub off and people can pick up on that confidence. So if you're working out now or you're just a bit lost, I had this exact conversation with my dad today, who's been going to the gym like once a week or trying to go a little bit more. And so, really, there's two things that I would recommend that you do. The first is like a bodybuilding split of push pull legs, which is pretty simple. So, on the push days, you will do essentially chest and tricep and shoulders. So, probably do 1 to 2 exercises for each. So, that might be like a bench press on a machine or on a bench. I'd say is probably the more ideal thing with an actual barbell. Maybe like a pec deck thing like that. Some shoulder press, and then some like tricep extensions on like a cable machine to finish off. You can do tricep kickbacks or like the one where you have the weight behind your head and do that tricep extensions. And then on the pull day, you're going to do your back and your biceps. So definitely, if you can do them, I recommend doing pull ups, like lat pull downs, seated rows, bent over rows if you want to do that. Yeah, all that good stuff, like single arm rows, like leaning on a bench. Again, if you have questions on any of these exercises, either just ask me or you just look up videos on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find them. And then obviously biceps. So bicep curls, like normal, like supinated grip, hammer curls. I like spider curls, which is where you lie on a bench at like 45 degrees, have your like arms off each side at 45 degrees, and then bring it up. And because your biceps also do some shoulder flexion as well, and so yeah, just having them in that position and like turn out, having your wrist turn outwards will really help. And then lastly is legs. So for anybody who said to me, not working out legs is absolutely unacceptable. It's unacceptable for myself. Like my max squat at the moment is about 175 kilos. I want to try and get to 200 before the end of the year. I'm having some issues buying shorts and jeans that fit me, but that's mostly due to the fact that I'm 5'5" with big legs, more than it's about how big my legs are. But yeah, not training legs is unacceptable. Um, First of all, it will feed into everything else. Any other part of your life that you or any other um, pursuit you do, whether it's like CrossFit for me at the moment, whether it's ice hockey, whatever it is, like having strong legs is super helpful. And plus, you don't want to be that guy. I've seen people before. I don't like it. Don't do chest and arms every time you go to the gym. Unacceptable. It will bleed into how you do anything, is how you do everything. And if you take shortcuts and just do the fun stuff and don't do the hard stuff, you will not get very far in life. So do legs, and it's not an option to not do legs. So if that's what you take from this video, do that. Get some big legs, get some big quads. Um, I would tell you the girls like it too. I don't think they can really give a fuck. So don't do it for that reason. Just do it for yourself and do it because it's the right thing to do. Like the YouTuber Hamza says, do the hard work even when you don't feel like it. I actually enjoy squatting, but even if you don't, do it anyway. Cool. The next thing, so the two options are either do push pull legs or do a like calisthenics routine. Obviously, there's some I recommended pull ups and shit like that. So there's a little bit of crossover between these two. But if you go the calisthenics route, that'll be more just doing body weight stuff. So there might be some building up here. So you might need to do the bodybuilding for maybe 1, 2, 3 months before you're ready to do some of the calisthenic stuff. Which would be pull ups, dips, obviously in the future, weighted pull ups, weighted dips. And then you get into the fun stuff like trying to do muscle ups, trying to do front levers, handstands, all this good stuff. But it really starts with the core of like bodyweight squats, bodyweight pull ups, bodyweight dips, push ups, which obviously there's a bunch of variations. There's doing push up on your knees, there's doing full push ups, there's doing diamond push ups, there's pike push ups, archer push-ups. There's a bunch of stuff and there's a bunch of progressions. So if you look at videos for that of just like push-up progressions, pull-up progressions, whatever it is, you'll find a bunch of shit. I think calisthenics is really fun. I've got some goals to hit in like Olympic weightlifting at the moment, and I'm really enjoying CrossFit. But after that, I'm going to go back to calisthenics probably in the next year or so. So I'm 27 now, probably by the time I'm 28 or 29, because I think there's much more longevity in that. I'm not going to be able to. There's not many 60-year-old weightlifters, but I could do calisthenics for the next 30 years, make a bunch of progress, and I think it'll be something that'll be really fun and sustainable for my joints and overall health. So that's what I recommend. Again, to summarize all of this shit, the most important thing is consistency. So it's going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. I still get that now. It's going to feel like that you could work out in a more efficient way. You're going to think, am I doing this exercise correctly? I talk about this all the time at work, with whether it's like copywriting, whether it's because I run, I do a lot of media buying, whether it's like writing copy, so writing like emails, writing website information and shit like that. I just talk about getting the reps in. And so where I've got that from is and the only way to improve is to get the reps in. So don't worry about it. The first pull up you're going to do, probably not going to be very good, but by the time you've done 1,000 pull-ups, you'll be in a good place and it'll be fine. So yeah, again, I've got into this place of like analysis paralysis of watching a bunch of fucking YouTube videos. I definitely recommend that you continue trying to improve and consume information on this, and it will keep you motivated by watching this video again, or watching anything from like Athlete and X or Jeff Nippard or any of these people that have good content on YouTube. But you just need to be consistent. You just need to keep showing up to the gym. I had somebody, like a guy who's about 80, and I helped him out and gave him some like wrist wraps at the gym that I wasn't using anymore. And he came up to me another time and kind of was like, "Oh, what's your secret, man? Like, how are you in the shape that you're in?" And I was a bit taken aback by the question because I didn't have a good answer for him. But the answer I gave him was just like, keep showing up, because I just kept showing up for the last 3 years consistently since lockdown, and that's kind of how I've got in the shape that I'm in. So there's obviously other factors that have played into that. I go to a great gym, there's great classes, I've had great coaching, but most of it is just my willingness to show up 5-6 days a week and just work out every day. Some sessions are going to be great, some are going to be shit, but as long as you keep showing up, you're going to keep making progress. The only way you lose is if you quit. So consistency is the most important thing. That is the only thing you should take from this video, is just keep showing up to the gym. It doesn't matter if you only do the warm up. You just need to consistently show up, consistently put the work in. So again, nutrition, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm not super au fait with everything when it comes to nutrition. I keep it super simple. I'm very lucky that I'm in a financial position where I can have my meals delivered and not have to cook for myself. So that takes a lot of care of a lot of it. I look at the meals that I'm going to get, make sure the protein and macros are good, and then it's going to take care of me. I don't have to worry about cooking myself and what that looks like. Essentially, the biggest things to understand are what are called macros, which is carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Um, so those are the biggest things that you need to make sure that you get. Really, what it looks like for me is I make sure I get 150 grams of protein. I think the recommended advice is around 2 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight, which again, I weigh 75 kilos, as I mentioned. So 150 grams of protein is about that. I'll go 100%. Like, obviously, I have protein shakes, I have my meals and everything. And what I'm always trying to do is hit 150 grams of protein. Obviously, I'm not eating fucking McDonald's to try and hit my protein goals, but I will, everything is kind of built around that. So whether it's like having beef jerky, which has a super high protein content, whether it's having protein shakes, like all of that is to hit 150 grams of protein. And then my other meals are just built around that. Most meals will have 25 to 30 grams of protein. So that's really what you want to aim for. And then obviously that'll take you to 60. And then you've got the rest of it to backfill to get up to 150. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works. I do take creatine, although I've been a little bit inconsistent with it because I normally take it with protein shakes. I haven't had protein shakes. Again, there's loads of literature on it. Like if you can afford to buy it, do it. If it's like an expense that you don't think is worth it, definitely just don't do it. Like just work out. Like I said, I've made great progress in the gym having no protein shakes, no creatine. So it isn't a necessary factor to success. So I just wanted to cover that quickly. But essentially, if you're getting enough protein, you just need to fuel yourself and make sure that your body's repairing it. I found like when I'm not getting the protein that I need, I'm really tired and I'm also really, really sore for a lot longer than I normally am. So it's important that you make sure you're getting the right amount of nutrition, essentially, but don't get fat. Like you'll know yourself. I mean, that's what's hard to teach about this. And again, why I'm not the best person to go to for nutrition advice. I'm sure there's other people that will do a far better job. I'm very intuitive with my eating. I know when I'm putting weight on and I know when I need to cut back. I know when I'm eating shitloads of sweets because my skin gets bad and I put on weight. And so I know when to dial it back and I kind of just do it like that. And I have a very narrow window of like the weight that I'm willing to accept. So when I start seeing my abs disappearing in any way, then I'm like, okay, cool, we need to make a change. Let's like cut back down. The same way if I get too slim or I'm not eating enough, I'm like, okay, cool, we need to bump it back up and do it. So yeah. But that again, I've been working out since I was 15. I've been eating shitloads of food since I was 15. So I kind of know how that works. Cool. So the next thing is to get on a program. So the reason why this is so important, and again, there's lots of different programs out there. Don't spend a shitload of money. It really doesn't matter. In the beginning, and again, I'll share, which I've shared before, like a beginner like calisthenics program, if that floats your boat, and you can just have a look at that and give it a go, just see what progress you make from that. The reason is big for me. I want all my focus and attention to go on my like business and my career because that's what increases my income ultimately. And so if I'm sitting down at weekends or spending too much time thinking about how to get fitter in the gym and how many reps I should be doing and shit like that, it distracts me. The other biggest factor and why I recommend that you do this too is that I don't know everything. I did sports science at college. I still don't know everything when it comes to programming. And the biggest thing too is I will be a pussy in the gym and just program stuff that I like. Like I said, I'll just program squats and I won't go too heavy and all this shit. So having a program, I'm on a program from some guys called Seeker Strength that do really good strength programs. And they definitely program like weighted plank holds, bottoms up kettlebell presses, rowing intervals, a bunch of stuff that I just wouldn't program for myself. And they program it at weights that I find challenging and that make me work much harder than I would by myself. So this is going to take the guessing work out of it. If you go down the calisthenics route as well, there's a really good guys called Calisthenics School on YouTube. So definitely check those guys out. They have a load of tutorials and shit, and I'm sure they've got some programs as well. And yeah, it's essentially just going to take the thought out of it, give you ultimate clarity. Every time you go to the gym, you're going to go, this is exactly what I'm doing. Here's how many reps, here's how many sets, here's the weight that it's at. And it will be the best thing for you to do rather than trying to guess, make it up, or even do all of the education that's required to know what you need to do. So eventually you might start to program for yourself in the future, but in the beginning I would just spend don't spend any more than like 50 quid, like just spend like 30 quid or something, get a program for you. Use the free one that I'm going to put in the comments of this video and just take the guesswork out for yourself. And so you'll know what to do and how to make progress. So yeah, that was a long tangent, but essentially that's it. So cool. One interesting thing, this might not apply to you, but it does to me. My life has got far easier since I started making more money, and that becomes a problem. There's a rapper I really like called Russ. He has a song called Oasis, and that is exactly describes the situations that I can get myself in where I'm being hedonistic, I'm playing video games, I'm eating more food than I should, I'm vaping, fucking doing everything you could possibly imagine, living a very comfortable life, not making much progress. When I've seen people like Greg Cardone or you see Mark Zuckerberg doing BJJ training, um, you see all these like high level people doing training or doing ice baths or shit like that. What it comes down to, because they don't need to do that stuff, is that they're seeking adversity and they're seeking also, I mean, this isn't super relevant to this point, but they're also seeking an environment where they're just treated like a normal person. They don't have any status. Like when they go into a BJJ thing, no one's treating them any different. Like when I go into the gym, nobody asks or knows how much money I make. It's not, none of that's relevant. I just go in there, I do my workout, and it speaks for, how fit I am speaks for itself. So yeah, again, you want to constantly seek adversity. You want to constantly seek to be uncomfortable, and so that's obviously the concept of progressive overload, which I probably should have covered earlier in this video for the beginners, where essentially the whole point of being in the gym is progressive overload, is to do more than you did last week, so your body is creating a response. Essentially, getting more muscle, getting fitter is all an evolutionary response our body has to adversity. So your body goes, hey, that was really hard. We weren't really ready for that. You push beyond our limits. We broke down our muscles using protein and the body systems. It repairs those like micro tears in your muscles, and then it basically comes back stronger. So that's what we're seeking to continuously do. We want to continuously put ourselves and our body in a situation where it's just beyond what it's able to do, so that it repairs itself and goes, hey, we need to be ready, we need to be stronger, we need to be fitter for next time. So we're constantly creating false adversity uh, in the aim of making ourselves fitter, which kind of sounds a bit crazy and sounds counterintuitive because our lives aren't hard. I could sit on a sofa all day. My job is on a laptop. I can do it from anywhere in the world. I don't need to work out at all, but I know the importance of creating that false adversity, creating uncomfortable situations for myself, pushing myself to improve every day. One of the real benefit of the gym, which I actually spoke to someone about, and they have exactly the same relationship, which is very, very interesting, is that even when school, college, job isn't business isn't going that well, with the gym, the progress is pretty linear. It's not going to be exactly linear. Like I've felt that from my weightlifting career. Sometimes the weights go down, sometimes the weights go up. It is what it is. But most of the time, you're going to feel like you're making progress. If you go in the gym, you do a hard session, you're sore the next day, you feel like you're making progress. Business and life isn't always like that. Sometimes you're going to put the effort in and you might not see the outcome for 90 days. You might not see it for a year. You might not see it for 3 years. Whereas in the gym, when you go and you put the effort in, you get sore, you get better. And so it's always been that rock in my life. Whenever business isn't going well, I still do the gym. I still feel like I'm making progress there, and it kind of like satiates that part of me because I'm, a thirst for progress is just the summary of my life. So that's that point again. Seek adversity. You see all these people that don't need to do it. They have very, very easy lives, but they continuously put themselves in situations where they're getting choked out of BJJ or they're doing hard workouts, etc. And that's because they want to be uncomfortable. They want to put themselves in that situation so they don't get comfortable and don't submit to their oasis. Cool. This is something that I've spoken a lot about with friends and something that I think is really, really important. Anybody that gets into the gym, like I will admit, when I first started going to my buddy's gym, the Gymshark gym in, I think it was probably 2021. Yeah, I was a gym addict. I was obsessed with the gym. I was overtraining. I like crushed my testosterone. I was just not in a good place. And the point is, like anything that I do, I want to do to the best of my ability. I want to be the best. And so when I was doing CrossFit, I was like all in. But what you forget is this is a hobby. This isn't my whole life. Like I've got people that love me. I've got a job that I enjoy and that fulfills me. And so this is just a part of it. And so I don't need it to be a 10 out of 10. I'm not trying to compete internationally. I probably wouldn't be able to do that anyway. And so it's important to just dial it back and put it into the full context of your life and go, hey, I don't need to go and kill myself every day at the gym. I don't need to be in there for 2 hours. It's like it's just a hobby. So um, I'm sure if you go to the gym and you fall in love with the gym, this will be a situation that you have and what you need to. I hope that you'll remember this, and just remember it isn't everything. You're not trying to be a professional athlete. Professional athletes have all day and nothing else to do other than to do this. I mean, that's a reduction. I apologize for that. But they can focus on this all the time. They can stretch. They can do everything to do with their recovery. They don't have any necessarily work stress outside of being an athlete. And their lives are much simpler and much more focused on being an athlete, whereas yours won't be like that. You'll have social commitments. Um, You'll have work commitments, you'll have work stress, which does affect your body in the same way as the physical stress of exercise, the mental stress of work affects your body in the same way. You'll see that your progress in the gym will be more difficult when your work is really busy or you've got a lot of work stress going on. That's something I've found over the years. And so yeah, that's the point. I'll leave it there. And again, I'm really lucky. I go to a great gym. I don't recommend that you start out with CrossFit. Obviously, it's super expensive, and also I think it is more advantageous to you if you're more advanced in the gym. You've got a good strength base. You've got a good understanding of how your body moves. That's why calisthenics is super valuable. It gives you a body awareness. Pardon me, sorry, I apologize. It provides you with like a body awareness that's super helpful for everything else, whatever you do, whether it's sports, whether it's CrossFit, whatever it is in the future. I'm lucky I've got a really good community. I compare myself to people that are just a little bit further ahead than me. Um, that's valuable. And, going back to where brains evolved from, we were used to being in a tribe. There'd be people that had slightly better genetics than you, or were slightly stronger than you, or a better hunter than you, but it wouldn't be by absolute miles. If I look at Ross Edgley, I work hard in the gym. I go 6 days a week. I think I work pretty hard, and I've been doing it for a fairly long period of time. Ross Edgley is way, way, way bigger than me, way fitter than me, and way less body fat than me. If I compare myself to him, I'm going to put myself in a state of depression and probably sadness because I'm just never going to close that gap. Whereas if I compare myself to my buddy in the gym who, to be fair to him, is a semi-pro rugby player, is in great, great shape. Um, he's stronger on some stuff. I'm like nearly there on some other stuff, and so it's much, much more healthier. So I'd recommend that you compare yourself to your peers and people just further ahead than you, and not Instagram models. Obviously, you're not. The point of this is don't compare yourself to people that don't go to the gym. If you've been to the gym for 3 months, don't compare yourself to someone who's never been to the gym, because the point of this is to constantly make progress. Because otherwise, you'll take your foot off the gas, which is not helpful. So don't do that. Always find people a little bit further ahead than you. Don't find people leaps and bounds further ahead than you, like Mike Thurston and Matt Does Fitness. Don't even look at what they look like. I don't follow any influencer on Instagram. I recommend that you curate your feed and get rid of those people and just look at people that are just slightly further ahead than you, and that will be helpful for you. So this is something very um, important to me at the moment. It's something I put in a lot of focus on, which is longevity-minded goals. And so this comes down to stretching. It comes down to the weight I'm putting through my joints. I realize that stretching and weightlifting, even if you do them correctly, they do put a huge burden on your like tendons, ligaments, cartilage, etc., above and beyond what you would normally get in the gym. So what I'd recommend you do, and this the point of this is that whatever you start, stick at it for however long, at least a year, I would say. I get bored probably about every 9 months is my cycle of getting bored of stuff. But if you do calisthenics, go, hey, I'm going to do calisthenics for 9 months. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to do it for this whole time. I'm going to show up 4 or 5 days a week to the gym, or I'm going to do the calisthenic stuff at home, 3 at the gym, 2 at home maybe, and I'm going to stick with it for 9 months. That's what you want to be doing. You don't want to be starting something that you're not going to stick with, and you'll know this in your mind. Like, yeah, even with CrossFit for me, I know I'm not going to stick with, but even weightlifting again, I'm not going to stick with weightlifting. I did it for a whole year, just weightlifting. I was in like terrible cardiovascular shape. I was getting out of breath running upstairs. I was a chunky boy. I didn't feel athletic at all. So I've thought about it going back. I get excited about it. I see people weightlifting, but I know I'm not going to stick to it. So I'm not even going to make that decision. And again, you want to set yourself up for success long term. This isn't about the weight you can lift between the ages of 20 and 30. This is about having a body that you're happy with for the rest of your life. I hope when I'm in my 50s that I'm in great shape and I set a great example to my kids. And so that's kind of what's on my mind. I just wanted to cover that a little bit. But again, that might have a relevance for some of you if you're a bit younger than me. I'm kind of regretting putting that photo of me on the video, so I'm going to make sure we stay above that. Training for performance is something I've always been big on. I got a little bit rudderless when I finished hockey because I'd been training to be a better hockey player the whole time, and then when I didn't have that focus, I kind of just went off and I just did bodybuilding because it what made sense. I wasn't doing it correctly. I had a really bad shoulder impingement. That still bothers me a little bit, but it's much better because I put the work in stretching and doing the rehab work. And so what I really found was like having a sport to do, whether it was like CrossFit was technically a sport, having like performance goals really helped me versus just having like aesthetics goals, which is just like, oh, I want to look this certain way, because it just comes with it. So I'm a big fan of like functional fitness, and obviously as you get more advanced in that blends into CrossFit because it's all about performance, it's all about getting faster, lifting more weight, and doing that. It's not for the sake of aesthetics. Although I think if you look at any professional CrossFit athlete, they've got the physique that any man would want for the male CrossFitters, obviously. And so, yeah, if you can find a way to train for performance, even for calisthenics, it's the same thing. You're training to do like muscle ups, um, you're training to do front levers. So it's all like for a goal more than just the way that you look. There's like fun. And I think calisthenics is super fun. I know I'm not trying to give you a fucking calisthenics sales pitch on this video, but I think it's pretty cool. And like I said, it's what I'm going to go back to, and I'm starting to go back to at the moment. So cool. I thought this might be interesting to you if you wanted to hear it. So essentially, my current regime is Monday and Tuesday. So on Monday, there's a class I go to called Conditioning Club. On Tuesday, which is just like cardio machine, ski erg, bike erg, assault bike, and running. When I finished weightlifting, I said to myself, I'm going to never get in that shape again where I'm out of breath running upstairs. And so now I'm always keeping up with cardio and making sure I'm doing my conditioning. My ideal scenario would be just do like half an hour of steady state cardio a day, but it just doesn't work out on my routine, etc. So having that big hit at the start of the week is helpful. So conditioning club on Monday, Tuesday I do functional fitness, which is again like a little bit of a regressed form of CrossFit. So there'll be some cardio in there, like 200-meter interval runs or ski erg and stuff like that, but also weights like devil's press, push press, burpees, like box jumps, all that good stuff. And then normally take a rest day on Wednesday. Thursday, I normally do my own thing. So at the moment, that's like weighted pull-ups, dips, and then normally some squats. Friday, I do like a little weightlifting class, which is normally a little bit more chilled out. And I do overhead squats, snatches, some push press, different stuff like that. That's all just accessory work for my weightlifting. And then at the weekend, I normally either do my own thing, squat heavy again, or do a class because it's not a good social thing on the weekend. So that's pretty much my current regime. Work is super busy right now. I'm really focused on making more money this year. So I have been taking plenty of rest days. It used to be one a week. It's currently like two a week, sometimes a bit more than that, depending on kind of how my body feels. Like I've said, the mental stress and working long hours affects your body in the same way that doing extra gym sessions would. So I really have to balance things out. So that's really what I'm focused on right now. And then the two books that I recommend you read in addition to this training is Hard Work Pays Off by Matt Fraser. Matt Fraser's mindset is something that I look up to massively. If you watch any podcast with him, the one on Joe Rogan's amazing. If you just consume or watch the documentary about him as well, like he's just an amazing guy. I love his motto. I say stuff to myself when I'm on the road machine and I'm really struggling, like hard work pays off, or never back down, never give up. And so, yeah, just really appreciate the guy's mindset. And he's awesome. Ross Edgley, someone I mentioned too. The World's Fittest book was a great read as well. And I really admire the endurance feats that he's doing and just the shape that he's in general. It's super inspiring. So hopefully those will help you out too. Again, if you have any questions on the gym stuff, just hit me up. I'm always happy to answer this stuff. I absolutely love the gym as much as I love and business and everything else, and love my family. The gym's something that I get a huge amount of enjoyment from. Love talking about how to progress. Love talking about what not to do. Love talking about the different kinds of working out. So, any questions that you have in the comments, any like conversations that you want to have, discussions you want to have, just hit me up in the comments. And I hope you found this valuable. And yeah, speak to you soon.